Hi, my name is Richard Wilde. I'm going to talk to you just for about 5 minutes about how to create a really great standout CV. So, if you're someone that's unfortunately, maybe lost their job on the back of this very unfortunate situation, or maybe you're looking for a new career as we start to come out of the back end of this lockdown, or maybe you're just reflecting on how, what your next career move might look like, then hopefully this video is going to be really helpful for you. So please continue watching. What I'm going to do is what I'm not going to do today is talk to you about the top 10 tips of how to create a great CV. And the reason I'm not going to do that is because there are lots of articles online that you could just Google right now and you get lots of different articles that you could read about the top 10 tips of how to write a great CV. What I'm going to do is I just want to talk to you about my own personal experience. Having been a recruitment owner for the last couple of years, and then prior to that, a senior leader in the new build and the building materials sector, and all the hundreds of CVs that I've seen throughout that time that range from really impressive 2-page professional documents to a 3, 4, 5, even 6 pages at times, poorly written CV that really doesn't represent the candidate in a great light at all. So what I want to do is I want to focus on just the top 3, and the reason I want to do that is because these 3 I think are absolutely fundamental, and if you get these 3 right, I think what you've got is a really great foundation for a really good CV. Number 1 is 2 pages. Absolutely keep your CV to 2 pages. Now that might seem really obvious, but you'll be amazed, as I mentioned earlier, the amount of CVs that I see that are on 4, 5, or even 6 pages that are incredibly long. Now, what I will say at this point is that I see some really fantastic CVs at senior level. So sales directors, managing directors, CEOs, for example, and they get their CVs on 2 pages. Absolutely no more, no problem at all. And often they've got these really impressive long careers, 20, 30 years plus, but they still get it on 2 pages. And I'm going to talk more about how they achieve this in my second point. But secondly, on this point of number of pages, the other key mistake that people make is they focus too much on including elements of their previous roles on every single job that they've ever done. Now, in reality, hiring managers are really only interested in probably the last 1, 2, maybe 3 roles that you've done. Prior to that, you can simplify it. And unless it's really relevant to this new opportunity, then you can really keep it simple. And in the early part of your career, a 1 line with just the date, the dates that you're with the company, the job title and the company name is absolutely sufficient. So again, that's a really big mistake that people make. Really focus on the last 1, 2, or maybe 3 jobs that you've previously done. Point 2, this is something that I'm really passionate about. People focus too much on what they've done and not what they've achieved. So, and I'll give you a really good example. So let's say, for example, you are applying for a sales manager's job. Now, it's highly likely that the hiring manager at some point, whether it's the first or second stage interview, will be a head of sales or a sales director, for example. And it's very probable that this sales director has either done this job before or has a really good understanding of the day-to-day and what's involved in this job. So what the sales director doesn't necessarily need to know is what you've done in your previous role, particularly if it's a similar role that you're applying to. What they're looking for is how good you are. They're looking for your achievements. They're looking for your successes. They want to understand, actually, how good are you at this job? How, if I bring you into my business, what value have you brought to another business that gives me real confidence that when you come and join my business, that you're going to be a real success. Prove to me, demonstrate to me that you've been successful in your previous organization, and that's going to give me real confidence that when you join my business, you're going to really make a difference. So really, really, really important. Please focus on your achievements and not necessarily on what you do. Now, there are exceptions to this, of course, before you say it. So I can hear people saying now that, well, actually, it's really important that I include within my CV my location, or the geography of the region that I've looked after, or the size of my team. Yes, I agree. These are also really important aspects that you need to include within your job description. But what you don't need to put in is your day-to-day functions. Yeah. So for example, I manage the team, I look after the CRM system. These are just day-to-day things that really don't need to be included in your CV. Now, again, I also hear some people asking, well, actually, I've applied for quite a technical role, so it's important that that I include some technical aspects of what I did in my previous role, because it's relevant to the job that I'm applying for, and there's a real focus within the job description for this particular task. Again, yes, I would agree that if you feel that specific tasks in your previous role need to be included in your CV, because it will really ensure that the hiring manager understands that you've got the right criteria for this job, then yes, of course, include that. But what I will say, taking all this into consideration, is where you can, must focus on your achievements. And ideally, that's 2, 3, or 4, even 5 for the last 1 to 2 roles that you have done. And really important, this, you must quantify it. Yeah, you must be able to demonstrate with facts and figures what you've achieved. And ideally, that's where you've increased revenue, increased profit, exceeded target, or actually you may have created some efficiencies within the organisation. Again, that's a really important element to consider as a key achievement within your CV. And then finally, point 3 is grammar and spelling. And again, that might sound really obvious, but you'll be amazed the amount of CVs at all levels that I see where there's a real simple spelling mistake. And again, I know from experience that I've worked with hiring managers that have simply rejected a CV based on a spelling mistake. And I guess the reason for this is that you don't know who the hiring manager is, possibly at this stage, and you don't know the importance they attach to attention to detail. And I know again from experience that often these hiring managers, put this right at the top of their list, or certainly high up in their list in terms of key skills and attributes they're looking for from a specific candidate. So please triple check everything that you do on your CV. Get a friend or a family member to look at it. Or I'm old school. I print everything off. Because for me, if I can see it on a piece of paper, I'm far more likely to spot a mistake than if I'm looking at it on a computer screen. So that's it. There's my 3 absolute fundamental top tips for how to create a standout CV. Now, of course, I'm not saying that there aren't really other important aspects that you need to take into consideration when creating a great CV. The overall content, the structure is also 2 really important things, but there's others. But I guess what I wanted to do is just share with you the 3 that I think absolutely a must, and absolutely will ensure that your CV has a great foundation to stand out for any hiring manager. And so finally, if anybody out there wants some help, just some guidance on their CV, more than happy to help. My phone number and my email's below, so please get in touch. And particularly during this difficult time, more than happy to help people get back to work. Good luck.